Okay, you've probably seen this one floating around online. The idea that a single massive wind turbine can handle the force of 10 jumbo jets. I mean, just picture that. It sounds absolutely insane, right? But is it true? Well, we're going to dig into the numbers and find out exactly what's going on.
Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it? Can a wind turbine really take on the force of 10 Boeing 747s? Let's get into the physics of it and see if this thing holds any water.
So you gotta ask, where did a crazy idea like this even begin? Well, it looks like the whole thing probably started with a mix-up over this absolute monster of an aircraft called the Windrunner. See, it's being designed to solve a really tricky problem. How in the world do you transport these gigantic turbine blades? And right there, that's where the confusion seems to have kicked in.
You see, all the talk about the Windrunner was about how much stuff it could carry. Its cargo volume is something like 12 times bigger than a 747's. And boom, that's what we call a category error. Someone, somewhere, saw a comparison about space, volume, and somehow it got twisted into a comparison about force. The whole thing was about how much you can fit inside, not how hard it can push.
Okay, so to really put this myth to the test, we need to set a proper benchmark. Let's forget all about volume for a second. What we need is the actual physical force of one single Boeing 747. And you know what? Let's be generous. We'll use the biggest model out there, the 747-8, just to give this claim its absolute best shot.
All right, first things first, we need its mass. And at what they call maximum takeoff weight, a 747-8 weighs in at a staggering 447,696 kilograms. Just think about that. That's the absolute heaviest it can possibly be, totally loaded up and ready to fly. But here's the key thing. Mass isn't the same as force, right? You have to factor in gravity. And when you do that, all that weight exerts a downward force of 4.39 meganewtons. So that number, 4.39 million newtons, that's our magic number. That is the force of one jumbo jet that we're going to use. And here it is, the moment of truth. The maximum force a big, powerful wind turbine is actually designed to handle is about 11.61 meganewtons. Now remember the force from our 10 jumbo jets? That comes out to a whopping 43.9. So yeah, not even close. The myth is totally, completely busted.
So yeah, the 10-jet claim is officially a myth. If you do the math, the real number is more like 2.6 jumbo jets. Now, look, I know that's not 10, but hang on a second. That is still an absolutely mind-boggling amount of force for one structure to handle. But this brings up a really interesting question, right? If these turbines are so incredibly strong, why not just, build them to take even more force? Like, why not design them to just stand there and take a direct hit from a hurricane? Well, the answer is actually where the real genius of their design comes in. See, when a turbine senses that the winds are getting dangerously high, it doesn't just stiffen up and brace for impact. No, it gets smart. The blades will instantly pitch a full 90 degrees, so they're presenting just their thinnest edge to the wind. It's a technique called feathering, and it basically sheds almost all of that aerodynamic force. It's designed to avoid the fight, not to win it through brute force. And that right there is the whole point. The true engineering marvel here isn't about building something that can just passively sit there and take a beating from a hurricane. It's about creating this incredibly intelligent machine, an active system that protects itself by, in a way, becoming almost invisible to the wind's most destructive power. It's brilliant, really. So, to put this thing in perspective, just how big are we talking? Well, at its very highest point, a turbine like this stands 280 meters tall. To give you an idea, that is taller than the towers of the Golden Gate Bridge. Just massive.
And what's the payoff for all this incredible engineering? A single one of these turbines can generate enough clean energy to power 20,000 homes. Now that's the real number. That's the statistic that's way more impressive than any myth. So there you have it. The whole 10 jumbo jets thing is a total myth. But what we found instead is honestly way cooler. A story about incredibly smart design and real-world impact. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing truths are hiding behind all the wild claims we see online every day?